The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Its hull gleamed like polished silver under the sun, stretching nearly 5 miles from end to end. Military bases worldwide went into high alert, but no weapons were fired. Humanity had long prepared for this moment. Admiral James Stone stood in the United Earth Defense Council chamber, watching the main screen as the alien vessel held its position. His weathered face showed no emotion, though his fingers drummed steadily on the polished wooden table. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Mark Thompson from his console. "The message is being automatically translated." The alien transmission filled the chamber. "We are the representatives of the Galactic Empire, rulers of 10,000 star systems. Your world has been chosen for integration into our divine realm. Prepare to receive our ambassador." The council members exchanged glances. They had run simulations of first contact thousands of times, but reality always had its surprises. "Accept their request," ordered Stone, "but maintain Defense Protocol Alpha." Within hours, the Empire's shuttle landed at the designated meeting point in Geneva. Their ambassador emerged, a tall, humanoid figure with metallic blue skin and elaborate robes covered in glowing symbols. The ambassador, who called himself High Lord Reed, sat across from Earth's representatives in the grand conference room. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he studied the humans. "Your species is young," he stated matter-of-factly. "We offer you a simple choice. Join the Empire willingly as a protectorate state, or face military integration. The Empire has never lost a war in its 50,000 years of existence." Admiral Stone leaned forward. "With respect, High Lord Reed, we prefer to maintain our independence. Earth would be happy to establish diplomatic and trade relations." "You misunderstand," interrupted Reed. "This is not a negotiation. You have 24 hours to submit your surrender. The Empire's will is absolute." The room temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Stone's voice remained calm, but took on a steel edge. "Then you misunderstand us, High Lord Reed. Humanity has spent centuries preparing for contact with alien civilizations, both peaceful and hostile. We strongly advise you to reconsider your approach." Reed's upper eyes narrowed. "You dare threaten the Empire. Your weapons are primitive. Your ships can barely reach your own moon. You have no concept of the power you face." "No," Stone replied quietly. "You have no concept of what humanity is capable of. We've had to fight for every inch of progress, survive countless disasters, and overcome our own worst tendencies. We've imagined every possible way we could be attacked from the stars and prepared accordingly. This is your only warning. Leave Earth in peace." The ambassador stood abruptly, his robes swirling. "Your arrogance seals your fate. The Empire will teach humanity its proper place in the galaxy." After Reed's departure, the council erupted into activity. Stone walked to the window, staring at the sky where the Empire's ship hung like a new star. "They're not going to listen, are they?" asked General Lisa Roberts, joining him. Stone shook his head. "They can't. Their empire is built on absolute authority. The idea that a primitive species might resist them successfully would shake their entire power structure." He turned to face the room. "Initialize Defense Plan Omega. Alert all command centers. And launch the Ghost Fleet." Around the world, hidden bunkers powered up. Quantum computers began running combat simulations, and deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, enormous hangar doors opened, releasing ships that had been built in secret for this very day. The Empire had dismissed humanity's warnings as the empty threats of primitives. They would soon learn their mistake. Humanity had clawed its way up from the caves, surviving everything nature and their own kind had thrown at them. They had split the atom, unraveled the genome, and mastered quantum mechanics. They had prepared for this moment with the dedication of a species that had never known true peace. As Stone watched the first elements of Earth's defense grid power up, he felt a deep sadness for the coming conflict. The Empire had no idea what they were walking into. Humanity had warned them to run. Now they would learn why. Would you like me to continue with part 2 of the story? The Empire struck at dawn. 500 warships emerged from hyperspace, their golden hulls forming a perfect attack pattern above Earth. Their weapons charge, ready to demonstrate the futility of resistance. Admiral Stone watched from the underground command center as red dots filled the tactical display. Behind him, operators maintained absolute silence, their fingers hovering over control panels. "Enemy ships are broadcasting," announced Lieutenant Thompson. "They're demanding immediate surrender." Stone's response was simple: launch the Ghost Fleet. The Pacific Ocean erupted. Massive shapes rose from the depths, water cascading from stealth hulls designed to be invisible to Imperial sensors. The Ghost Fleet, humanity's secret weapon, built over decades in underwater facilities, took formation. On the Empire's command ship, High Commander Roy watched with amusement as Earth's vessels emerged. "Primitive water-based launch systems," he sneered. "Open fire. Show them the Empire's might." The golden ships unleashed their energy weapons. Beams of destructive force lanced toward Earth's fleet and passed right through them. Holograms, Roy realized too late. "It's a quantum strike authorized," Stone commanded. The real Ghost Fleet, hidden behind quantum camouflage fields, opened fire. Missiles carrying warheads that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously streaked toward the Imperial vessels. The Empire's shields, designed to block normal space weapons, offered no protection against attacks that technically existed in several dimensions at once. 20 Imperial ships vanished in the first volley. "Impossible," Roy shouted as alerts blared across his bridge. "Their technology is decades behind ours." "Sir," his sensor officer called out, detecting massive energy signatures from Earth's moon. The lunar surface shifted as hidden doors opened, revealing cannon emplacements that had been built in secret for over 50 years. Energy beams erupted from the moon's surface, catching the Imperial fleet in a devastating crossfire. Stone's voice was calm as he coordinated the attack. "Launch fighter squadrons. Activate the orbital defense grid." Thousands of small craft poured from hidden bases around the globe. Unlike the Empire's standardized fighters, each human squadron used different tactics, different weapons, different attack patterns. The Imperial forces, used to fighting enemies who copied their methods, found themselves overwhelmed by the chaos. "How?" Roy demanded as another explosion rocked his ship. "How did they hide all this?" The answer was simple. Humanity had never stopped preparing for war. While they hoped for peace, they planned for conflict. Every science fiction story, every theoretical weapon, every possible alien technology had been studied and encountered. The Empire wasn't fighting a primitive species. They were fighting a civilization that had imagined this exact scenario countless times and prepared accordingly. "Sir," Thompson reported to Stone, "the enemy fleet is attempting to regroup near Mars." "Spring the trap," Stone ordered. As the Imperial ships approached Mars, the red planet's surface rippled. What appeared to be rocky terrain was actually a massive field of nanites, microscopic robots that could reconfigure themselves into any form. They rose up like a great wave, forming into weapons platforms that opened fire on the shocked Imperial forces. In the Empire's 50,000 years of conquest, they had never faced anything like this. Their perfect formations broke apart. Their standardized tactics failed. Their commanders, trained to fight conventional battles, found themselves facing an enemy that refused to follow any rules of combat they understood. Within hours, half the Imperial fleet was destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships struggled to maintain position as Earth's quantum weapons tore through their defenses. High Commander Roy stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Centuries of Imperial doctrine. The most powerful fleet in the galaxy, defeated by a species that hadn't even colonized their own star system. "Full retreat," he ordered, his voice hollow. "Return to Imperial space." As the surviving ships fled, Stone allowed himself a small sigh. "Casualties?" "Minimal, sir," Thompson reported. "Our quantum shields held." though we've expended about 30% of our prepared defenses. Stone nodded. They'll be back, with a bigger fleet. But now, they know we're not helpless, and we got more surprises waiting. The first battle was over. Humanity had won. But Stone knew this was just the beginning. The Empire's entire power structure depended on their military superiority. They couldn't afford to let Earth's resistance go unanswered. The real war was about to begin. The Empire's High Council gathered in their golden chamber on their capital world. The massive hologram displaying Earth's defense systems floated in the center of the room, causing murmurs of disbelief among the assembled lords. High Commander Roy stood before them, his pride shattered after the defeat. The humans, they have technology we never imagined possible. Our intelligence was wrong, catastrophically wrong. The Emperor himself, speaking for the first time in centuries, leaned forward on his crystalline throne. Explain. They have quantum-based weapons that ignore our shields completely. Their stealth systems render our sensors useless. But worst of all, Roy paused, struggling with the words. They have an entire defense network throughout their solar system that we somehow missed. On Earth, Admiral Stone was leading a very different kind of meeting. The United Earth Defense Council had moved to their secondary command center inside Mount Everest, one of thousands of hidden facilities across the planet. Show them, Stone ordered. General Roberts activated the main display, revealing humanity's true military might. Hidden bases on every continent, automated factories buried deep within asteroids, antimatter production facilities in Mercury's orbit, weapon platforms disguised as comets in the Kuiper Belt. For 300 years, Stone explained to the assembled military leaders, we've been building. Every nation, every corporation, every scientific breakthrough, all of it coordinated for this moment. The display shifted to show the AI Defense Network, a system that could predict and counter any standard military strategy. It had been learning, evolving, preparing for this exact scenario. The Empire found our public face. Roberts added, they saw our civilian space program, our visible military. They never looked deeper. In Imperial space, the Empire's best analysts were discovering the truth. They found thousands of science fiction stories humans had written about alien invasions. They uncovered military documents theorizing every possible way an advanced civilization might attack. They realized that humanity had spent centuries essentially writing the perfect defense manual against exactly what the Empire had tried to do. These humans, one Imperial scientist reported, they'd been paranoid about alien invasion since before they had electricity. Every story, every movie, every game. They've been rehearsing for us. Back on Earth, Stone reviewed the latest intelligence. The Empire was mobilizing its full military might, over 10,000 ships. They would return, determined to crush this unexpected resistance. Activate the Titan Protocol, Stone commanded. Across the solar system, hidden installations hummed to life. On Saturn's moon Titan, massive facilities began producing autonomous drone ships by the thousands. Under the surface of Venus, electromagnetic cannons prepared to launch specially designed projectiles that could tear through Imperial ships like paper. Sir, Thompson reported, we're detecting Imperial probe ships at the edge of the system. Stone nodded. Let them look. It's time they understood what they're really facing. The Empire's probes transmitted images that shook the Imperial leadership to its core. Earth's defenses weren't just military installations. They had transformed their entire solar system into a fortress. Every planet, moon, and asteroid could be weaponized. Even the space between planets was filled with hidden threats. In the Imperial capital, the Emperor watched the reports with growing concern. How did we not see this? They hid in plain sight, Roy answered. We thought their space program was primitive because that's what they wanted us to think. Every failed rocket, every apparent setback, it was all a cover for their real advances. The Emperor's 4 eyes narrowed. Can we defeat them? With our full fleet? Perhaps. But the cost? Roy shuddered. They have weapons we've never seen before, defenses we can't counter. And we still haven't seen everything they can do. On Earth, Stone watched the sun set from his mountain command center. The Empire would return, yes, but humanity was ready. They had spent centuries preparing for this moment, building an arsenal that could challenge even the mightiest civilization in the galaxy. The real question wasn't whether humanity could defeat the Empire. The question was what would happen to the galaxy when humanity finally emerged from its solar system, ready to ensure no other civilization would ever threaten Earth again. The Empire had started this war. Humanity would finish it. The massive Imperial fleet moved through space in perfect formation, 10,000 ships strong. Their golden hulls gleamed as they approached the Sol system, ready to crush the human resistance once and for all. They never saw the attack coming. Small, stealthy ships emerged from what appeared to be ordinary asteroids. These human vessels, each barely larger than a fighter, carried weapons that should have been impossible for their size. They struck without warning, their quantum-tipped missiles passing through Imperial shields as if they weren't there. "Scatter formation," ordered Fleet Commander Paul, but it was too late. The human ships vanished before the Empire could respond, leaving behind dozens of destroyed Imperial vessels. In the Mount Everest Command Center, Admiral Stone watched the tactical display with satisfaction. Report: Strike Team Alpha successful. Lieutenant Thompson confirmed. 37 enemy ships destroyed, no casualties on our side. The Empire still hasn't detected our stealth technology. The Empire's mighty fleet found itself facing an enemy they couldn't see or predict. Human ships would appear from nowhere, strike with devastating effect, and vanish before the Empire could respond. Their tactics changed with every attack, making it impossible for Imperial commanders to adapt. "They're not fighting fair." Fleet Commander Paul raged as another raid decimated his supply lines. "They refused to meet us in proper battle." But that was exactly the point. Humanity had spent centuries studying guerrilla warfare, perfecting the art of asymmetric combat. They knew they couldn't match the Empire's numbers, so they didn't try. Instead, they fought like their ancestors had, striking from the shadows, using the environment to their advantage, and never giving their enemy a clear target. The Empire's sensors were useless against human stealth technology. Their communications were constantly disrupted by quantum interference. Their supply lines were under constant attack from ships they couldn't detect until it was too late. "Launch the hunter-killer drones," Stone ordered. Across the solar system, thousands of automated drones activated. Each one was equipped with advanced AI, capable of learning and adapting to Imperial tactics in real time. They swarmed through space like electronic wasps, targeting Imperial ships with precision strikes. The Empire's response was predictable. They launched their own drones, but these machines, programmed with rigid Imperial protocols, were no match for the creative, adaptable human eye. The space around Earth became a graveyard of destroyed Imperial machines. "Sir," Thompson reported, "Strike Team Delta has successfully infiltrated the Imperial command ship." Stone allowed himself a small smile. While the Empire focused on the visible threats, human special forces had been quietly boarding their vessels, planting quantum bombs that could tear ships apart from the inside. Fleet Commander Paul realized too late what was happening. "They're inside our ships." How did they? His transmission cut off as his command ship exploded, taken out by weapons that had been planted days ago by infiltrators he never detected. The mighty Imperial fleet was being torn apart, not by superior numbers or firepower, but by an enemy that refused to fight according to their rules. Every Imperial doctrine, every strategy they had perfected over 50,000 years, was useless against human ingenuity. "The enemy fleet is retreating again," Thompson announced. "Should we pursue?" Stone shook his head. "Let them go. They need to understand what they're facing." In the Imperial capital, the reports caused panic among the ruling council. Their invincible fleet was being defeated by an enemy they couldn't even see. Worse, human ships had been spotted near Imperial worlds, suggesting Earth's reach extended far beyond their solar system. The Empire had expected to crush a primitive civilization. Instead, they found themselves fighting shadows, never knowing where the next strike would come from. "Send more ships," the Emperor commanded. "We cannot allow this resistance to continue." But on Earth, Stone knew the truth. The Empire's greatest weakness was their inability to adapt, to think beyond their rigid military doctrine. Humanity's greatest strength was their creativity, their ability to find new ways to fight, to survive, to win. The guerrilla war among the stars had only begun, and humanity was winning. "Bring forth the planet killer," the Emperor commanded, his voice echoing through the golden halls of the Imperial Palace. After suffering continuous defeats, he had finally authorized the use of their most devastating weapon. The planet killer emerged from its secret dock, a massive ship that dwarfed even the largest Imperial battlecruisers. Its main cannon could crack planets in half, and its mere presence had ended countless rebellions before. On Earth, Admiral Stone received the intelligence with grim determination. "They're desperate enough to use it," he noted, studying the images of the approaching superweapon. "Just as we predicted." "Sir," Lieutenant Thompson reported, "Operation Exodus is ready." Stone nodded. For centuries, humanity had prepared for this possibility. They had built vast colony ships, hidden in underground bases across the planet. Each vessel could carry millions of people, equipped with technology that could sustain human civilization even if Earth itself was destroyed. The planet killer arrived at the edge of the solar system, accompanied by the largest Imperial fleet ever assembled. Fleet Commander Paul, newly promoted after surviving the previous battles, stood on its bridge. "Surrender now," he broadcast to Earth, "or watch your world burn." Stone's response was unexpected. He laughed. Confused, Paul watched as thousands of massive ships burst from hidden bases on Earth, Mars, and Venus. The colony ships, each one a self-contained civilization, began evacuating Earth's population according to long-established protocols. "You still don't understand," Stone transmitted back. "We've been preparing for this scenario for generations. Earth is our home, but humanity is not bound to one planet." The Empire fired their planet killer. Its beam of destructive energy lanced toward Earth, only to be intercepted by a shield of quantum energy that surrounded the entire planet. "Impossible," Paul shouted. "No shield can stop the planet killer." "Launch Operation Scattered Thunder," Stone commanded. Suddenly, the seemingly retreating colony ships revealed their true nature. Each one carried weapons powerful enough to challenge the planet killer itself. They had been built not just as lifeboats, but as battleships that could ensure humanity's survival. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The planet killer fired again and again, but Earth's quantum shields held. Meanwhile, the colony ships struck from all directions, their weapons specifically designed to counter Imperial technology. "Sir," Thompson reported, "the civilian evacuation is complete. All non-essential personnel are safely aboard the colony ships." Stone nodded. "Execute Phase 2. Earth's surface suddenly transformed. What the Empire had thought was a planet's natural geography revealed itself as a vast weapon system. Mountains opened to reveal missile silos. Oceans parted as hidden bases launched their forces. The entire planet had been converted into a fortress over centuries of preparation. The planet killer's crew watched in horror as their supposedly invincible weapon was surrounded by more firepower than they had ever faced. Quantum torpedoes, gravitational disruptors, and weapons the Empire had never seen before converged on their position. "We didn't just prepare to evacuate," Stone transmitted to the Imperial fleet. "We prepared to fight back." The planet killer's shields failed under the assault. The mighty vessel, pride of the Imperial fleet, began breaking apart under humanity's coordinated attack. In the Imperial capital, the Emperor received the news with shock. The planet killer, their ultimate weapon, had failed. Worse, Earth's population had escaped their attempt at genocide, and now had even more reason to fight. How many colony ships escaped? He demanded. Thousands, his advisor reported. Each one capable of sustaining millions of humans, each one armed for war. We didn't just fail to destroy them, we forced them to spread throughout the galaxy. On his command ship, Stone watched as the planet killer exploded in a massive quantum cascade. The Empire had tried to destroy humanity's home, and in doing so, had only succeeded in unleashing them upon the stars. The war was entering its final phase. The Empire had played their strongest card and failed. Now it was humanity's turn to show what they could really do. Earth still stood, its people were safe, and the Empire's greatest weapon was destroyed. The next phase of the war would take place among the stars themselves. After the planet killer's destruction, Admiral Stone knew it was time to unleash humanity's most devastating weapons. He stood in the command center of Colony Ship Alpha, now serving as Earth's mobile headquarters. "Begin Operation Virus Strike," he ordered. Across the galaxy, hidden human agents activated their quantum transmitters. Years before the war began, humanity had seeded Imperial space with microscopic machines disguised as space dust. Now these nanites came alive, targeting the Empire's technology with terrifying precision. Imperial ships began failing as the virus-like machines infected their systems. Weapons wouldn't fire. Shields collapsed. Navigation systems sent ships in wrong directions. The mighty Imperial fleet was being defeated not by brute force, but by invisible enemies they couldn't fight. "Sir," Lieutenant Thompson reported, "the Imperial FTL network is starting to collapse." The Empire had built a vast network of faster-than-light travel corridors throughout their territory. But humanity had studied their technology and found its weakness. Quantum disruption bombs, planted years ago by stealth ships, began detonating across Imperial space. Fleet Commander Paul watched in horror as his Empire's transportation network crumbled. "They're cutting us off from each other," he realized. "Isolating our forces." Stone activated the main communication channel. "All colony ships, begin Phase Omega. Target Imperial core worlds." The colony ships, carrying Earth's evacuated population, were more than just refuges. Each one was a mobile fortress, capable of launching devastating attacks. They moved through space like massive predators, hunting Imperial fleets that could no longer communicate or support each other. In the Imperial capital, panic spread through the ruling council. Reports came in from across their territory. Planets cut off, fleets stranded, communications severed. The Empire, which had ruled through absolute control, was losing that control rapidly. How did they do this? The Emperor demanded. How did they infiltrate our entire empire? The answer was simple but devastating. Patience. Humanity had spent decades sending out stealth ships and automated probes, mapping the Empire's weaknesses, planting weapons and viruses, preparing for this moment. "Sir," Thompson called out, "Imperial defenses are failing across all sectors. Their automated systems are completely compromised." Stone nodded. "Launch the quantum strikes." Human quantum weapons, designed to bypass any known defense, struck at the heart of Imperial power. Military bases, shipyards, and command centers that had stood for thousands of years were torn apart by forces they couldn't understand or resist. The Empire's military structure, rigid and unchanging for millennia, couldn't adapt to these new threats. Their commanders, trained to fight conventional battles, found themselves facing an enemy that attacked on levels they couldn't even perceive. "Your empire is finished," Stone transmitted to the Imperial capital. "Your fleets are stranded. Your weapons are useless. Your communications are severed. Surrender now." But the Emperor, clinging to 50,000 years of absolute power, refused to accept defeat. "Launch all remaining ships. We still outnumber them." It was a fatal mistake. The stranded Imperial ships, cut off from support and infected with human viruses, were easy targets for the coordinated human fleet. Stone's forces moved with precision, destroying or capturing Imperial vessels across the galaxy. "Sir," Thompson reported, We're detecting massive energy signatures from the Imperial capital. They're powering up some kind of superweapon. Stone allowed himself a grim smile. They're desperate. Activate the quantum nullification field. The Empire's last-ditch weapon, whatever it was, died before it could fire. Human quantum technology simply negated any energy buildup, rendering the weapon useless. The war was reaching its end. Humanity had not just survived the Empire's attack, they had systematically dismantled the most powerful civilization in the galaxy. Their viruses had destroyed Imperial technology. Their quantum weapons had shattered Imperial defenses. Their strategy had turned the Empire's size and power against itself. All forces, Stone commanded, advance on the Imperial capital. It's time to end this. The colony ships moved forward, their weapons ready, carrying within them not just Earth's population, but the future of human civilization. The Empire had forced humanity to leave Earth, and in doing so, had unleashed them upon the stars. The final battle was about to begin. The Imperial capital world shimmered like a jewel in space, its golden towers reaching toward the stars. But now those towers stood empty as the Emperor and his High Council gathered in their underground bunker, watching humanity's fleet approach. Admiral Stone stood on colony ship Alpha's bridge, looking at the tactical display. The entire Imperial defense fleet had been reduced to scattered remnants. Their mighty civilization, built over 50,000 years, had fallen in mere months to human ingenuity. Your Majesty, Fleet Commander Paul's hologram flickered in the bunker. We have no remaining defenses. Earth's forces have disabled everything. The Emperor, his 4 eyes dim with defeat, finally understood. His empire had ruled through fear and overwhelming force. But humanity had shown them something different. The power of adaptation, preparation, and intelligence over brute strength. Open a channel to their commander, the Emperor ordered. Stone's hologram appeared in the Imperial bunker. He stood calmly, hands clasped behind his back, looking at the beings who had tried to destroy his world. You have won, the Emperor stated simply. What are your terms? The response surprised everyone. We offer peace, Stone replied. Not submission, peace. As equals. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. The Empire had never treated any species as equals. Their entire society was built on dominance and hierarchy. You could destroy us, the Emperor said. Why offer peace? Stone's response was measured. Because humanity's goal was never conquest. We built our weapons, our defenses, our strategies for one purpose, to ensure our survival and independence. Now that we have achieved that, we choose to be better than our enemies. The terms were unprecedented in galactic history. The Empire would survive, but would transform into a cooperative alliance of worlds. Each species would govern itself, with a council of equals replacing the imperial hierarchy. Human technology would be shared to help rebuild worlds damaged in the war. There's something else you should know, Stone added. Do you know why Earth was left alone for so long? Why no other spacefaring race contacted us before you? The Emperor shook his head. They were watching us. Dozens of advanced civilizations. They saw how we survived every disaster, how we prepared for every threat, how we never stopped imagining and building and preparing. They knew what you learned too late, that humanity was best left in peace. As the surrender was signed, Thompson approached Stone with a report. Sir, we're receiving messages from multiple alien civilizations. They're congratulating us. Stone nodded. Earth's victory over the Empire had changed the galaxy's power structure forever. Humanity had proven that determination, innovation, and preparation could overcome even the mightiest empire. The aftermath brought massive changes. The colony ships, no longer needed as evacuation vessels, became centers of human expansion into space. Earth's defensive technology was modified to protect all worlds in the new alliance. The imperial capital became the headquarters of a new galactic council, where all species had an equal voice. We thought we were teaching them their place in the galaxy, Paul remarked to Stone during the peace ceremony. Instead, you taught us a lesson about assuming any species is primitive. Stone watched as representatives from hundreds of worlds mingled in the former imperial palace. The universe is too vast for any one power to rule through force, he replied. The only way forward is together, as equals. The war had changed humanity too. They emerged from their solar system, not as conquerors, but as guardians. Their technology and strategies, developed over centuries of preparation, now helped maintain peace throughout the galaxy. What happens now? Thompson asked as they prepared to return to Earth. Stone looked out at the stars, no longer a source of threat, but of promise. Now we do what humanity has always done. We adapt. We grow. We help build something better than what came before. The Empire's attack had forced humanity to reveal their true strength. But in victory, they had chosen to show their true wisdom. The galaxy would never be the same, and perhaps that was for the best. After all, humans had warned them to run. But in the end, they had taught the galaxy how to stand together instead.